Nothing makes sense anymore, Courtney. Ian, the data doesn't make sense. The stat makes no sense. And the media makes less sense. But we're not championing the all media is garbage message necessarily. It's hard to find any good stuff out there, but we are talking about what's important for people to know in Dallas-Fort Worth when it comes to their homes and their buying and selling and enjoying of their homes. And right now, if you were to look at a detailed report of the Dallas-Fort Worth residential real estate market, and you were to look at price, number of homes selling, how fast they sell, you would make the face that kind of sounds like, huh? You know that face? Yeah. It's a radio show. We can't show them the face. The face would look like this sound. What? Huh? What? What? That's the face. Okay? Hopefully that audio translated into a visual in your brain. But
there was an episode of Friends where when Joey was trying to explain how to do a face, it was like you do the face as if you had just been asked, and this isn't the exact numbers, it was like divide 476 into 943,264. Yeah, it's
one of those. Or you just tasted something really funky and you have no idea what it is. What? Okay, so that's where we are. And we've been calling it all summer the murky middle. That's what we've been calling this market. We're in the murky middle. We're not an extreme seller's market anymore. We're certainly not all the way back to a 2008 extreme buyer's market. We're in a market where on one block, one day, you would go, man, there's more houses than there are buyers. We're in a buyer's market. On another block, in another house, on another evening, you would go, no, we have 3 offers. It's sold in 2 days. And in another area, you would go, okay, it's been on the market for 37 days, but it's priced right. We're not doing anything wrong. Stay the course. And the reverse of that to the buyer. So that's where we are. We're in the murky middle. We're in that market where even the data kind of goes, huh? What? And we can dig into that as we make it further through the show.
Yep, and this first segment is going to be brought to you by Patrick Gleros and his team at Cardinal Financial. I actually had a great conversation with Patrick this week on just kind of the state of the industry, state of the market. Super informative as always. If you are looking to get a mortgage, if you're wanting to talk about refinancing, because people are beginning to do that a little bit more now, you can reach out to Patrick. You can start an application directly on his website, patrickgleros.com, G-L-A-R-O-S, patrickgleros.com. If you want to give him a call, you can, 972-728-3420, NMLS number 308804.
And if you haven't caught the podcast, you should be catching the podcast, DFW Real Estate Weekly with Todd Tramonte, wherever you get your podcast. I was actually at the cell phone store this week, and for some reason this lady was just like obsessed with this radio show. I told her about the podcast. She was fired up. She was like, how do I look it up? And I was like, well, just for you, we named it really long, so it's easier to search for. DFW Real Estate Weekly with Todd Tramonte. She found it immediately. She thought it was kind of a big deal. Didn't get me a discount on the cell phone or the service, though, Courtney. So check out the podcast. But if you check out the YouTube channel, and the podcast is on the YouTube sometimes, you can see the fact that I haven't shaved my face in 3 days.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, go ahead, grab the mic. Let's talk about it. I don't know if you know this, Courtney.
What's going on with your face?
I get
midlife crisis.
I get excited every fall.
Oh.
Do you know what I get excited about every fall?
No Shave November?
Nope, but you're not far off. Ian, do you know? You do know, but I don't know if you're going to think of it right now. What I get really excited about every fall.
Bad Baylor football.
That's not a source of excitement, but it is. Well, I guess you can have positive and negative. I'm really excited about how unhappy I am about Baylor football.
Being outside.
There it is.
Hunting,
furry. Fishing, camping, being outside and not just sweating your face off. Like, I'm always 5 degrees hotter than everybody else anyway, and so when it's hot, I just like a low ringing anger.
I would never know that because you are like, you dress like a farmer.
Farmer Todd.
In the summer, you are head to toe like
I wear
I
jeans and
never
boots.
knew that you were hot.
Because I wear jeans and boots, is what you're saying.
And a long sleeve shirt and a vest.
Everybody knows I am
I don't
because I
wear-
live in 64 degrees.
I don't wear the vest in the summer.
Maybe.
It's hurtful. You
Unless
you obviously haven't paid attention, Courtney, to my fashion.
Or-
I don't wear the vest in the summer, but I wear the boots and the long sleeves and the pants all
A lot
the time.
of plaid
'cause
And you're just
shirts.
sweating?
Comes in with some
sort
corn
of-
in his mouth.
Just sort of how my grown adult
You're
brain
not a
works.
sweaty
Is
guy,
like
though.
grown adults wear pants,
You're just hot.
and when you go to work, you don't wear tennis shoes.
I
now
guess.
that's not a
Grown
popular
adults
opinion
also wear
around
That's
here.
not
shorts
a popular-
and tennis shoes.
I've as the owner, broker, and leader around here, abdicated the authority when it comes to dress code, and there's a lot of tennis shoes. Anyway, all that to say, I get fired up about being outside more, hunting, fishing, camping, going to my kids' sports, and not being miserable. And I
Connect this to your
celebrate
face.
that with a little bit of outdoorsman. And so I let the scruff go a little bit. Don't worry, I'll be
But like
shaving.
how far?
Not very far.
Do
starts
you
to
ever
feel-
grow a beard?
One time, 2019.
What happened?
I remember because I associate it with this rental house we had in between remodel projects of our houses. And I look like an idiot.
and how does Dana? Is she like clean up your face?
She's already like,
She loves this?
get rid of
Oh,
this.
she's like, shave your
And my
face.
daughters are like, what? Why?
You do look unkept.
My little bitty daughter, who's not as little bitty as she once was, she will rub my cheeks going down and she'll go smooth. And on the way up, she'll go rough.
She's
like,
so sweet.
Don't like it. So I'll shave tonight. Anyway, I'm fired up about the fall. Now we got some stuff we got to get into. I know, you know how Ian loves his market data.
Wait, it's not that you look unkept. You
No,
look
no,
like
you
No,
said
you
it.
said it.
you
said
look
it.
like something's
Kind
going
of
on.
backtrack things.
I heard it. Ian obviously
It
heard
looks
it.
like something's going on in your life.
She said two things.
Like-
one clearly and one sort of in code. One was, I don't pay attention to what you look like all
I
summer.
was the one that said you enjoy the outside.
Even though all summer I've been photographing and videoing you for the public to see, I pay no attention
I'm
to what
very
you wear. I don't care if you look like a complete idiot in public. And then secondly, she said that I looked unkept. And I'm not even saying she's wrong. I'm just saying it doesn't feel great.
I manage
Moving
your
on.
face around here.
Moving on.
So
Are we good? Can we continue?
I don't know that we're
About
good,
the
but we're going to
market.
move on. All right, data. I mean, Ian loves his data. You know this. You know that when you say, Ian, could you get me some stats? He's like, ooh, let me just lock the door and hunker down. I love this stuff.
Especially when it's like 6:30 the night before the show. It's
How
awesome.
do current days on market average and average price compare to the beginning of summer? That's the question we got this week that we wanted to discuss.
I've
So-
got answers.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, let's hear it.
Hey, which county would you like to know about?
All right, let me be honest. My brain goes Dallas County, Tarrant County, Collin County,
That's what I got.
and then
You are in luck.
what about Denton?
Nope,
Well,
don't have it.
I was going to say Rockwall, but I know
But I can give you Dallas, Collin, and Tyrant.
and I know he doesn't have it on his list.
Here we go.
It's very
Dallas
important that we
County,
know about Rockwall
May
County.
of this year, the average
wanna
days
know
on
for the
market
future.
was 38. In October, well, currently, we'll just call it the current market average in Dallas County was 48.
Okay,
That,
stand by.
by my count, is 10 more days than at the beginning of summer.
Right. So basically, in the course of 5-ish months, we've gone up 10 days on market. Now, what does that mean? We'll unpack that in a minute. But let's look at a couple of other areas and we can kind of make those comparisons.
Almost 25%. Collin County, May was 36. October, or currently, 50. Huh? Tarrant County
Feels
in
high.
May, 39. Tarrant County currently, 49. Also a 10.
Courtney, have
What
you
it-
seen a trend there as the mathematician in the group?
I do see a trend. It appears we were going up 10 days. Is that a good thing or a
Well,
bad thing?
Collin County went up 14, so you're close.
You know, he can't just let
Honestly,
someone make a general comment.
I am
it's like
just
he
here.
made he
It's like a child.
drank
I've
too many Red Bulls.
I've muted him. Just let him. He's British, and it's not. It's like every gift has its curse, and his gift is that he's never really truly happy with a lot. It's the British way to be just generally disgruntled, a little bitter sometimes, but then all the excitement is saved for like that annual football match where it goes right.
I would like
Or
to
when
put,
somebody else does something wrong.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. His Schadenfreude is 10 out of 10. Really loves someone else's misfortune.
I would like to put a pin in trying to understand Brits and your emotions. I don't understand how to
Moving on.
relate.
Okay, so you're catching the trend that it's about 10-ish days on market, that our market really across the bulk of the DFW, where the bulk of the transactional volume is happening. Dallas County, Collin County, and Tarrant county. Okay, now obviously we do business and there's other counties and everyone else is relevant. We love you, Kaufman, and we Rockwall and all the others, Denton. But this is where the bulk of the transactional volume is. That has stretched out about 10 days over the course of about 5 months. And to be honest, those are the 5 months where normally we see a tightening. So it might even be a little bit more significant than just 10 days because it's gone up 10 days in a period where usually we see it shrink a little bit. So what does that mean? You asked the question, what does that actually mean? Well, it just means that the market as a whole has slowed down a bit. It doesn't mean values have gone down, although in a couple pockets, they probably have slipped a little bit from their all-time peak highs. In a couple pockets, they're up a little bit. They're at their all-time peak highs. We don't see runaway pricing going up, and we don't see prices tanking. We just see a general slogging, murky middle, like I've said, where if you want to buy, you can totally buy. And if you want to sell, you can totally sell. But it might take you a little bit longer to sell. It's going to take you about 10 days longer on average, depending on where you live, 10, 12, 14 days longer than it was in the spring. But historically speaking, 48 to 50, 48, 49, 50 days on market is not a big deal. Not a big deal.
I think those numbers are going to surprise people.
7 weeks.
I think people are still. I know that this happens. They still get frustrated if their home hasn't sold in the first week or two.
So here's where we are. And
I'm so glad you said that. It makes me freak.
Here's where we are, and you can say if you're hearing differently. We are at a place where the murky middle applies across the board. We do have some sellers that are like, can I even sell my house right now? How bad is it? And you're like, whoa. It's not bad. It's just a little slower.
Yeah.
And then we have others, and they'll even say to you, no, I totally understand. I understand we're in a different market. I understand, 48 days is the norm. And then they do exactly what Ian just said. After 6 days, they're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, whoa. We talked 2 weeks ago about the fact that 40-something days is the normal. Yes, at the Todd Tramonte home selling team, we still guarantee to sell your house over the average price and under the average time. But the average time is 49 days now.
Do you know what was really cool this
and
past
in
weekend?
their head, it's 4. Go ahead.
We had 2 homes that we put on the market, and both of them went under contracts the first weekend.
At very good
weekend.
prices. I know one was 10 over. I don't know the other one. The point is this. The battle that most people are fighting right now is in their own mind. It's in their own emotions. And, of course, when you have an opportunity to sit down with a full-time, fully dedicated expert like John or Jeremy or one of our buyer specialists at the Todd Tramonte home selling team, you're going to get those expectations set more appropriately. But even then, the emotion is a big deal. So, Courtney, you just touched on it, that you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, what? So unpack that. What do you mean? Like, that's crazy to you that it's taking that long, or what do you mean?
Well, one thing I was thinking after I said it was, I am fascinated by what a huge impression almost like the 2020 market had on us.
Yeah.
Like, how quickly homes sold is like, that should be the norm now, how we were fighting for homes. Like, if that's not happening, something must be wrong. And then the rates. Well, I'll just wait for it to all go back to that. And it's like, it's a new dawn and a new day around here. And you guys need to acclimate to like the norm. That was nuts.
So clip the audio that you just did, and you can play it every year for the rest of my career. And you could have played it every year for my career so far. It's called recency bias. If anybody wants to look it up, you can read exactly what that is.
Bias.
But basically, we think that what has happened most recently is normal. Have you ever seen anyone that didn't say something like, man, the good old days? When I was young?
What happens in sports all the time? My gosh, they're the best player that has ever played the game. They're the greatest of all time. And you're like, well, but that's because that's who's really good right now.
Right? So the reality is context and emotion and everything's changing, and there's no two things that are ever the same. We used to say that real estate is cyclical. It was never perfectly cyclical. There were trends that would ebb and flow and come and go, and that those were, buyer's market then goes into a stable market, then goes into a seller's market, then goes into a stable market, then goes. That used to be a predictable cycle. Our markets are so manipulated now that cycle's not as natural. But the reality is this. I've been in real estate for extended periods of time where the average days on market in North Texas was way over 100 days, 120, 130 days. And honestly, people were less panicked then than they have been in recent years. People have grown accustomed to what they want. the entitlement is raging.
Okay, there's the entitlement, but I feel like it hurts both ways.
It hurts
like
everyone.
I'm like, why has no one wanted you? What do people not know?
But here's the thing is, right, so couple of things. There is no normal real estate market.
Thank you.
Doesn't exist. There is the real estate market that we have today. That's what we have. The other thing is that we're influenced by everything in our day-to-day lives in the way that we think about things. So it used to be that if you wanted to go and buy something, you would get in your car and you would go drive down to the place, and you may have to order it and you may have to wait a week or two to be able to get it. And that was how it was. So guess what? People are more patient at that time. Now, I want something, I'm going to go on Amazon, I'm going to order it, and I've already paid for Prime, so I'm going to get it within the next 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So people are just like, it's not greed, but it's just like, it's the entitlement of, if I want it, I can go ahead and get it within hours now. Whereas before, people were more patient because they had to be more patient.
By the way,
and that bleeds into just our day-to-day lives and everything.
it also causes people to make horrible decisions. So I'm not going to say any names, but even on this station, there are ads from companies that offer all of these sell your house right now.
I was going to say, you could literally go online right now, go on one of these websites, put in your address, receive an offer, say yes, sign the stuff, and you can sell it.
And because people are wired to that and they just want what they want when they want it, they're willing to give up huge amounts of their equity.
Crazy.
They're willing to go in and just willfully, and I don't think there's much of an excuse, ignore the logic that you are going to get way less money doing that. Now, to be clear, we run some ads also occasionally that say, or I will buy it. If you want a cash offer, you can go to our website and register. The difference is we are going to say, hey, if you can be a little patient, we'll get you way more money. You will walk away with a ton more money in your pocket. But you hear these ads that are like, don't go through the hassle of showing your house and dealing with a realtor, as if it's like, translating the Rosetta Stone. These aren't like the most burdensome things ever. You go through a few weeks and a little bit of planning, a little bit of prep, a little bit of cleanup, and you get $30,000 extra dollars. I sure as heck think it's worth it. But I can tell you right now, if you would prefer just get what you get when you want it, and you're willing to take a lot less money, we will buy your house from you. Or one of our other buyers will buy your house from you. Or one of our investor clients will buy your house from you. At least that way you have a local resident improving the property or benefiting from this, favorable deal, as opposed to some venture capital backed national firm or big scary conglomerate that you might not want to control your local community.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the fall heading into the winter. Like, it is one of your absolute favorite times
Love it.
of the year, right? So what is it about the season that you love? What is it about, obviously, some of the things in the backyard that you love? Like, what is it about the fall that gets you fired up that people should get excited about?
Well, so the obvious thing is the weather. It's just more enjoyable to be outside. But when you're outside, you use more of your property, right? So in the summer, I use my bedroom, kitchen, living room, right? In the fall, I'm in the garage more. I'm in the patio more. I'm out in the yard more. See my neighbors more. Like the home blossoms into its fullness. You would think like, oh, we have a pool, we don't use that. We'll use the hot tub. Like, so it's like the whole. I'm not just talking about beds, baths, and square footage. The home, as in like that place where I cultivate my marriage and the parenting of my children and my recreation and health and hobbies and things. We use the fire pit. We cook outside more. Like the fall just opens up all of that. We use our camper more. We take the kids to campsites. I go hunting. I go fishing. The kids' sports are more active and more enjoyable, by the way. We do the parties at the house afterwards, and we have everybody over, and we blossom into who we are and who I believe God gifted us to be, and we're able to use our gifts with others more, hosting, having those parties, having people out in the yard and things like that. So that's just my answer for me. I would actually love to know what our listeners and friends and viewers think. So wherever you're catching this, you can call or text us, 214-310-0008, and let us know what you love about the fall. 214-310-0008. Now, if you're catching this on YouTube or podcast or something, leave us a review or comment below or whatever, and just let us know, what do you love about the fall? How do you use your home differently in the fall? That's my short answer. I can certainly unpack some bigger thoughts and ideas, but I just think if you live in North Texas, spring is nice too, but spring tends to be wet and things are dead and coming back to life. In fall, things are still alive. Actually, we kind of get this revival of all the grass and trees and shrubs and flowers after the brutality of summer. Things kind of come back to life, and so it's beautiful. We have shade, we have warm days and cool days, and we get to maximize the engagement of life and home and friends and neighbors. I love it.
Courtney, what do you love?
About the fall?
Yeah.
I like that people are outside, and it seems like just later evenings of walking, and it's just so nice. I mean, I lately I've been loving the mornings too. I live in the best neighborhood, so everybody's just outside playing.
Careful, he's gonna go British because he thinks he lives in the best neighborhood.
Well, I love that for us.
I don't even have a neighborhood.
How awesome to be like, I'm in the best. No, I'm in the
we're
best.
3 for 3. We love where we live. I don't technically have a neighborhood, so I'll let you guys fight over that. But
It's very pleasant to be outside.
you both
engaging.
have actually really incredible, like truly unique neighborhoods. But your point is you see your neighbors more. You're out, people walking the dog, kids are at the park. Yes. Like the nostalgic, I love where I live, instead of like, I'm just trying to get to the house. And I don't want to be in between the car and the door for any longer than I have to.
I just love Halloween. So I think that's just all I think about.
We might need to talk about that. I like Halloween less than I've ever liked it right now.
Halloween's awesome. There's so many yard decorations.
Okay, we're gonna come back to it.
Love the community.
Let's try to carve out some time, and if we don't, we'll do it next week because we need to have this discussion. Because historically, I do, and right now I'm a little upset about Halloween. We'll talk about it.
Okay, we can talk about that later. Hey, let me tell you about DP Lambert Goosehead Insurance. I had a conversation with DP this week because my homeowner's insurance is about to be up within a week. And so he's going to make sure that he shops it. He's going to find me the best deal, find me the best coverage, and he's going to obviously get me the best price because that's what DP does.
We renewed with him this week, same time.
Yeah. So dp.lambert, Lambert, dp.lambert at goosehead.com, 214-614-8595 is the phone number. ToddTramonteTeam.com is where you can go to find out all recommended pros and vendors, as well as check your home valuation, which you can do in less than 60 seconds right there on the website. Just click on the home valuation tab. If you haven't done that recently, you should. It's one of your biggest, if not the biggest thing that people own. You should know what it's worth.
Did you know that Courtney had written a jingle for DP and was going to perform it right now?
Ooh.
Oh. DP Lambert, just give him a call.
Wow.
Gosh, please clip that and send
That
it to him.
is
I'm so glad.
the work you put in.
That is a top 3 moment being on this show and the team because obviously I was messing with you and you just went with it.
How did you come up with it?
Love you.
That's what I'm going to say. DP Lambert, just give him a call.
Okay.
Love it. Hey guys, when we get back, we're going to talk about how everything costs more right now, but real estate and stuff. What's up with that? We'll talk about it when we come back. Hot take, things cost more. Price of lots of things is up, and we're not happy about it. I don't know if you're happy about it. But there's some good news in there. What if I had some good news for everybody? Hey, thanks for hanging with us through the break. This is DFW Real Estate with Todd Tramonte. I am Todd Tramonte. We've got the full crew in studio. We got full price Courtney, producer extraordinaire of all things audio, video, and digital. Welcome, Courtney.
Hey, thanks. Good to be here.
Thanks for hanging out through the break and not just escaping the studio.
Love it here.
We've also got the English wonder, the Yanni Donnie, who has, like I, an opinion about everything. Welcome back, Ian.
I sure do.
And I'm glad you're here. Now, let's do a quick focus group. How do you feel about the cost of things? Reverse order, snake draft, Ian?
Expensive.
Little expensive. Full price, Courtney?
I love it.
She likes to pay for it.
Couldn't be better.
Little to no interest.
Charge me more.
In a
The
discount.
groceries are killing me.
Oh, but the things that aren't fun to pay for are annoyingly more expensive and leaving less money for the things that are fun to pay for.
That's true.
Okay, folks, but what if I said to you, while inflation is the thing that gets blamed for what we just said, milk, bread, clothes, gas prices were okay this week, but generally speaking, gas, energy, all those things. What if I said, as much as that's not fun, if you have taken the wise and strategic progress and choice of owning a home, this is probably going well for you. What if I said inflation helps you when you own real assets, none more than real estate? And what if I said that real estate was a hedge against inflation? How do we feel about the word hedge? We'll go Ian, then Courtney. How do you feel
He
about
got to go first last time.
Oh, snake draft it. We're bouncing back and forth.
It's a protection coming in.
She did not want you to answer that.
No.
You see that?
No, because you were going to take it.
I wasn't.
What are you going to say?
How good does it feel to be right, Courtney?
Like, it's just so good.
It's like a
warm
warm
blanket is
on a
rushing
cold
through my
winter's
body.
night.
Ian, come for me.
Well, I think of betting because you hedge your bets.
Oh.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a different context, but it's the same meaning.
How?
So how would you
How do you hedge your bet?
Go ahead. You ask the questions.
Protection.
So people will hedge their bets on things like, one example would be, I am a Middlesbrough fan. We all know that. Some people may bet against Middlesbrough, knowing that if I lose my bet, my team won. But if my team loses, I won my bet. So you win either way.
You also lose both ways. But that's how people do it. So a hedge would minimize your downside. It's not a separate upside risk. It's going, hey, I've got a big upside here. I could make $1 million, but I can only lose like 80,000 because I've kind of hedged this, meaning I've put in some financial protections, or I've made this other gamble or this other investment that if this goes down, then this goes up, or if this goes down, this limits the downside. So
Mattress Mac does this when he does the whole, if the Texans win the Super Bowl or Astros win the World Series or whatever, then he's going to lose X amount of money. So he'll go and bet it on the other team.
I'll translate.
And that way, if the Texans win,
I'm here for you.
He loses all the money because he had to give away free furniture.
Let me explain something to you. What is the point? What is the point?
Minimize your loss.
Then why are we playing?
Because it's fun.
Explain it to me if I'm going to win both ways, Ian.
Okay, you're not. Here's what I'm going to say. By the way, Mattress Mac, Jim McInvale, he has a mattress company in Houston called Gallery Furniture. And if you buy all your mattresses and the Astros win the World Series, you get it for free. So it's a huge promotion. He sells way more mattresses because of it and other furniture. But he then goes and makes a bet of like, say, $1 million. But if they win, he's going to win $6 million. So if they win, he gets to give all the furniture away and still make money on the bet. If they lose, he still sold way more furniture and everybody just pays for the furniture, and it's not like a bad deal.
Yeah.
So he's hedging this big promotional giveaway. So if they lose and I don't win the bet, I sold more furniture. But if I sell more furniture and they win, I win double.
It's a win-win.
It's a weird game to play.
So that's just a weird example, but it's actually a very smart
Great
one.
example.
He gets the support of the community. He gets to be a popular, well-known fan.
Not just the support of the community. Everybody, people know him nationwide.
Yeah. Also, he might have a gambling problem. I grew up with his kids. I'm not saying he does. I'm saying he makes other bets, and they're big bets, and they're public, and it's part of his marketing. He may just view it as marketing expense. But anyway, that's a big public example of a hedge. Now, all the way back to what the heck we're talking about is in the game of life, sometimes you lose. You lose because milk costs more and you need milk. You lose because bread costs more and you need bread, and toilet paper costs more, A, because of inflation, B, because people are hoarding it. And therefore, you lose there. Financially, in the game of finance, that's just a loss. Costs went up and there's no big upside. I get the same milk. It costs me 25% more. How can I hedge against that? Where if the market does the things that cause the milk and the bread to go up, what can I do where I also win? My wealth goes up. Okay. I suggest you own real estate, because when spending goes up and the cost of goods goes up, more often than not, the cost of real estate goes up. So my asset, my home or my rental property or my flip property or my office building or my land that I own or the warehouses that I own or whatever, tends to inflate with other goods. Now, when I say real assets, Ian, how would you define real assets versus, I'm not saying fake assets, but there's a difference in a real asset and other types of assets.
You mean like not my boat?
Great. So a boat I would not call a real asset. Why do you guys think I would not call it that? I'm not trying to trick anybody, but
I know my new favorite thing is when he asks to speak to you. I am going to.
Yeah.
Did you lose something?
No, thanks. I was looking for Ian because Courtney answered.
It's like when I'm driving in the car and my kids are in the back and I'm like, hey, and I ask one of them and the other one, I'm like, are you Carter?
Yeah.
To one of my daughters. Anyway, go ahead, Courtney.
I have things to say.
A boat would not be a real asset.
It depreciates.
It's an excellent reason to not call it a real asset. Now, it's real and it is could be an asset. Like if you rented it out and it earned you money. Okay. But yes, it is almost always depreciating in value. It's getting older and less functional and out of date and harder to maintain and all those things. A real asset would be something that is tangible and usable. It could be land. It goes up in value just because the market does what it does. Or I could literally plant and grow something there or raise an animal there or build a neighborhood there or a skyscraper or dig a hole and mine something out of the ground, whatever, right? So it's real. It has real tangible utility and is an investment. Make sense? Gold, people like to like in investment circles, people think of gold or silver as sort of a real asset. Like it has a value in the marketplace per ounce, sort of a commoditized value, but it also has like a trading value. It can also be used in certain, components and machinery and things like that. It's got lasting real value. It's not valuable just because the market says so. For example, if you had a $100 bill in your purse right now, it's valuable because we all sort of agree that it's valuable. You can't trade it for gold. We're not on the gold standard anymore. Now, you could trade it for a purse or bread or milk until someone's like, the system's busted. That's not real. Oh, that's just a piece of paper. It doesn't do anything for me. And at that point, they might say, trade me a can of gasoline and I'll give you a little bit of milk because I could do that's you got utility to it. Real assets. Residential real estate is almost everyone's preferred favorite real asset. Not everyone. So all of this to say, you want to own real estate. And one of the many benefits is that it is a hedge against inflation. When the cost of other things are going up, you could actually benefit because the cost of your real estate is going up. You could sell it and get that value back. And net, your annual budget, you might have come out ahead. Because although you had to pay more for gasoline and bread and milk and all these other things, you also got more for your real assets, real estate specifically. Now, that's only if you sell it or borrow against it or whatever. But real estate is a major, major hedge against the rising cost of most things in our country. Long explanation, but a very important point. So I have no issue with that.
I would like to talk about a little place that I like to call...
How's he going to pronounce it?
Benbrooky.
Oh, I knew it.
Benbrooky.
I knew it.
That's close.
Benbrook, Texas.
You are implying that I spelled it wrong.
You did.
I don't know. We're about to internet check that.
It has an E on the
I
end.
did spell it wrong.
The DFW area feature for today's DFW Real Estate with Todd Tramonte, which you can find all of our resources at toddtramonteteam.com, or at any time that you have a question about something that we're not taking 29 minutes to explain, you can just go to toddtramonteteam.com or call or text 214-310-000. Now, we really like Benbrook.
We do.
I think Benbrook is one of the cooler communities in DFW.
To be clear, the only reason I said it wrong, to point out that Courtney spelt it wrong, was because she keeps interrupting me on today's show.
Yeah. Listen, it's not that he's vengeful or angry.
Come for me, I'll come for you.
Yeah, that's the
Eye for an
spirit.
eye.
What a vigilante. Anyway, Benbrook is great. Benbrook is kind of small town vibe with plenty of what you need and within minutes of Fort Worth, where you have everything that you can need, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of everything that you can need. Price point on Benbrook is attractive relative to a lot of the surrounding areas. You can get into Benbrook in the 300s still, occasionally sneak something into the high 200s, and then certainly lots of options in the high 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, and way up. You got a lake. You still do have, for the most part in Benbrook, that small town feel where you don't have as many of the massive big box grocery type chains, but you got everything you need. It's sort of the beginning of getting out into some sort of rolling hill country, of getting out into north central, northwest Texas. It is, there's a lot of land, not like big rural land anymore, although there is still a little. It's being developed, but you've got acreage properties. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 acre yards and big quarter acre lot communities where they're building a ton of houses, and kind of all parts of that community spectrum.
I'm glad you said that about land, Todd, because I don't know if you know this. I mean, I think you do. Most people do, that I am just a historian of North Texas. It's what I'm known as here on the team. And did you know that the history of Benbrook was really shaped by buffalo grazing, and that has, in and of itself, preserved much of its native Texas prairie land. There you go.
Just let that sit for a second. I hope that makes it to the YouTube channel. Okay, I did in fact know that, Ian. Not because it's written in our show notes.
No.
But
I didn't even read them.
When you get to, I said a minute ago that it's sort of the beginning of, I don't want to call it West Texas because we are not in or even that close to West Texas. But when you're driving west from Dallas to Fort Worth, or from Fort Worth out Weatherford, southwest through Benbrook into Glen Rose and beyond, that is when it begins to feel like, oh, we're not in the big city anymore. That's what I mean by small town. And yes, you get to see the land open up to larger lots and bigger spaces, and you can still see some barbed wire fencing and some cattle running and things like that. But yes, interestingly enough, in many, many parts of even Texas, when you stopped having these large herds of grazing animals, buffalo included, you literally saw a change in the makeup of what kind of grasses were growing and trees and reforestation and things like this. So I think Benbrook is a really cool town. Because you can call it a town. It's not as big as Fort Worth. It's not as big as Dallas. It's not Arlington or Frisco or any of these massively growing, but it has access to all those things. So living in Benbrook is like, man, pop into Fort Worth or over to Arlington or out to, Weatherford or whatever. But it has its own personality as a mostly family-oriented. It's super welcoming if you're not a family or whatever. But everything you need, without having 5 or 10 of everything you need. In some areas, it feels older in a good way. In some areas, it feels very new and fresh with all your drive-thrus and all the things you need. Affordable housing. There's some job basis in Benbrook, but most people are driving into Fort Worth or to a surrounding suburb for employment. But it's a cool town with a great personality. There's some good food there. Certainly near a lot of great food and entertainment. Benbrook, Texas, cool place to live. And I would strongly recommend for folks in the DFW area that don't know it well to check it out, consider it. For folks out of the area, maybe you're catching us on the podcast, definitely a cool place to live if you're looking to move to the Fort Worth area to work or visit. So
it kind of reminds me of like Sexy Wiley in the sense of it used to feel really far out.
Yep.
And now it doesn't.
It's got a real Wiley vibe.
Closer.
Real Wiley vibe. There's parks, golf courses. They got more than their fair share of hiking and biking trails.
And equestrian trails.
Equestrian trails, yeah. It's a pretty good horse community, especially as you get on the northwest side and really all over. But Benbrook's got a cool, celebrating kind of the Fort Worth history of, being a cowboy town. But it's got all the amenities you could want. Certainly in some of the newer communities that have them inside the communities, Benbrook's pretty great. People like the schools there. They're highly rated. It is just a cool town. I keep wanting to use the word cool because I like it. So check out Benbrook for sure. You'll be glad you did.
As you have mentioned on today's show, I am rather opinionated and have opinions on just about everything. Even if I know nothing about it. But one thing I do know, Republic Title, they are awesome. Did you know that?
I did. I feel the same way. For 20 plus years, I've been in residential real estate in North Texas. In the earlier years, I was selling everything myself, and then I've built a team. And for literally the entirety of that time, I have wished every contract had Republic title on it. They can't all have Republic title on it because we work with other people. But when Republic's on the contract, I breathe a sigh of relief, and I'm grateful for the way they do what they do, which is take really great care of both buyers, seller, agents, lenders, and everybody involved.
I've closed properties on my own properties at Republic Title, and it's just a delightful experience. I know we're going to be taken care of. I know everything's going to be right, and I know that with all of our clients that get to use it as well. RepublicTitle.com is where you can go to find out all the services that they offer. RepublicTitle.com, 972-433-8777 is the phone number. And as we always tell you, ToddTramonte.team.com. ToddTramonteTeam.com. Click the radio tab, and we're good to go. I didn't do anything wrong. Moving on.
Maybe we should just pause.
I didn't do anything wrong. What are you talking about?
.team.com.
Watch this. Have you ever done anything wrong?
Nah.
Okay, moving on.
Here's the thing that I want to talk about is, let's talk about some land stuff. I want to bring Courtney in on this as well.
She's here.
Hey, Court.
Hey.
Present.
I wanted to buy a home on land, if I was interested in that, what are some of the things I need to know about rights?
I mean, I don't know.
I got rights!
I don't know wasn't the answer I was...
Am I getting payments for the things on my land?
What a vague way.
From the
I think
state.
I know where you're going.
I'm asking
For my minerals, for my oil.
From the state, for my minerals, for my oil. Give me my oil monies.
This is why I need an agent. Real bad. I don't know a thing.
Todd, you got anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, so as soon as we start seeing more than an acre, which, again, we love neighborhood homes and homes on land. We help people with other stuff, but those are our two big areas. And by the way, if you want to buy or sell a home in a neighborhood or on a little bit of land, call us now. Let's just start the conversation. You don't have to do anything yet. Let's start the conversation. 214-310-0008 or... Okay, so when we get over an acre, we start getting this question like 10 times more often. Like, hey, do I get to keep the mineral rights? You know, what are the water rights like? What about access? What can my neighbor do? And so that's, I think, what we mean by rights here. So the short answer is most of us do not have our mineral rights anymore. The developers, the original landowners, when they had larger chunks of land, retained those rights or sold them to groups that, bundle mineral rights. But if you do still have your mineral rights, you actually need a decent bit of land, because if anyone's ever going to actually drill that or access, whether that's oil or natural gas or some sort of, stone or commodity deposit that's worth something, then they need to access it through a pump or a well or at least a road or whatever. Even if they're angular drilling from some other property under yours to access it, there's going to be some access. So if you have 1 or 2 acres, it's pretty unlikely that there's going to be significant revenue. You could generate some royalties that way, but it's less likely. That begins to be more realistic when we're seeing at least tens of acres, if not hundreds of acres. There's exceptions to every rule, but when it comes to minerals, which because of the Barnett Shale and because of all the natural gas and oil and gas that have historically been in our region, it's a popular question, especially people out of town. Like a lot of people from California are like, man, do I get my oil rights? And you're like, okay, pause for a moment, let's educate. Now that you could, and it's great, it could be a future income, but it's usually on a small piece of land, little to no money, and usually you don't have the rights. So that's oil and gas or minerals.
Wait, I'm going to ask a question everyone's thinking, and they're too scared to ask. Are we talking about rocks?
I like it when someone says everyone, and it doesn't mean everyone. They just want to lump other people into their
I'm
question.
not alone.
So,
I know listeners are wondering.
Oil, and when we say mineral rights, we typically mean oil and gas.
Oh, you do?
It can apply to, not so much in Texas, but like a coal deposit or,
granite,
certain rocks and things. Yeah, again, those aren't super popular in our region, but there are pits where people are pulling gravel and things out. So yes, anything subsurface that is of value, that is natural, typically there is some opportunity to earn. By rights just means you have the legal ability to then be paid for it.
Minerals have rights as well, Colin.
I mean, honestly.
Let's not confuse people. The royalties, though, would be someone else is drilling or mining and handling that. They now own that, but they pay you a piece of that going into the future. Again, if you have 1 or 2 or 3 acres, it's highly unlikely that that's going to be the case. But that's a question. Water rights is a big deal. People drill wells. Can I do that? How deep can I drill? How can I access it? What if there's a creek or a river or a lake on the border of my property? Who has rights to that? Can I pump out of the big lake or the creek or the river? Those are all relevant questions that we help people with when they buy or sell homes on land.
Fantastic, phenomenal garage floors.
GoodGarageFloors.com, y'all. GoodGarageFloors.com. They knocked it out of the park on my garage. They turned our funky concrete slab into a beautiful pickleball court and basketball area. Now they're looking at our pool deck areas and our covered patio. Any concrete services, especially your garage floors, our good friends at GoodGarageFloors.com are offering you 20% off through the end of fall. Go to GoodGarageFloors.com.
Real Growth Summit's happening.
It is. It's happening in like a week-ish. October 22nd, 23rd, 24th, we have our Real Growth Summit for real estate agents, brokers, and team leaders wanting to grow your business.
Come join us.
We've got like 6 seats left at this point. But if you would like to join us, you're a friend of the show, holler at us. You can just call or text 214-310-0008. We'll get you set up. We got awesome outside speakers. We got great local speakers. We'll be talking about how to grow a real estate company or team or business for more income and more impact. Go to realgrowthsummit.com or just call or text 214-310-0008. Now, we had Patrick Glaros on the show last week. Super informative, super helpful. You know the drill. If you're thinking about a refinance, which people are starting to think about again, or if you're buying a home for yourself or for an investment, just do what I do. Go to patrickglaros.com, Glaros, patrickglaros.com.
Air fryer.
Air fryer.
Have I told you my air fryer story recently?
No.
About how it became...
Do you even own one?
We have not the traditional kind. We have the one that looks like a mini oven, and I do
Okay.
ribeye steaks in there occasionally, and they're really yummy. But the story came out of a marketing lesson, because that's what I do with my spare time. But basically, a company that couldn't sell their French fry fryers because the market was so crowded, they were losing margins, they're going to shut it down. And basically they asked the question, what does everyone in this category generally accept as a rule of this category, and how could we change it? And it was the fact that you had to have oil, and the machine had to deal with the oil and dispose of the oil and keep it clean and not burn people. And ultimately it turned into this oil-less fryer, which became an air fryer and became an entire new industry segment and turned into tens if not hundreds of millions of newfound revenue. And that's the kind of stuff I think about, and then I just try to apply it to real estate to help our friends who are buying and selling homes. Go to toddtramonteteam.com and we'll pull all that obsessive focus on helping people to your benefit. toddtramonteteam.com.